situation.
Tricky situation. What is it?
Sticky situation.
Sticky situation.
Yes.
I didn't understand. Could you please repeat the spelling?
I sent in the chat box.
I'll check. Where is it? It's not here because one side of my headset is sticky situation. No, it is not correct. It is not correct, Richard. Because sticky situation, how can you use this? I've told either you use a past participle in the form of an adjective or use a present participle in the place of an adjective before a noun. So this sentence, this word you gave or this example is not correct. Racine? Yes, Racine?
Ma'am, shining glass.
Shining glass. The word shining ending with ing, that is used as an adjective before a noun glass. Yes, Gautam?
Ma'am, present participle burning, glowing marble and
Glowing
your
marble.
videos.
Glowing marble. A very good example. Ayman?
Ma'am, playing happily.
No. That is not right.
Lighting them.
Happy hour.
Happy hour.
Ma'am, your camera
No,
is
that is not correct. Because either you use a past participle form before a noun or you use a present participle form before a noun. I don't want the adjectives. I want you to use past and present participle just in the form of a adjective before
Ma'am,
a
your
noun.
video's off.
My video is not working. My video is not working. It's
Ma'am, can you
not
say
accepting.
this word is correct or
Yes,
not?
yes, Tania.
Ma'am, eaten food. Is it in which part it's?
Is it past participle form or present participle form?
Ma'am, is it past participle form?
Is it past participle form? If it is that, you tell me, ma'am, this is used in past participle form. Eaten food. Eaten. Eat, ate, eaten. Is it present participle form or past participle form of the verb eat?
Eaten.
Eaten. Third form or the fourth form? Eat, ate, eaten, eating. Present participle or past participle?
Past.
It is past participle. So past participle used as an adjective before a noun. Okay, these are examples. So Jovin, give me one example.
He's typing in the chat. Ma'am, is combined mixture is a past.
His mic is not working. So okay. I want one example from Rudra Krishna. Rudra? I cannot hear you. Can anyone hear Rudra Krishna? Is it my problem?
No, ma'am.
No. So we can't hear.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, Ayman.
Playing cricket is correct, right?
Playing cricket is absolutely right because cricket is a noun and we have used or we have inserted playing the present participle form before cricket, playing cricket. Okay? So children, wait. So we had a discussion about finite and non-finite verb in the last class. Okay? And we said finite verbs are used normally to show the tense form, right? And it has a subject of its own and it is limited and it is controlled by the subject. Okay? Whereas the non-finite verb, I said, non-finite verbs are used not, it is derived or it is formed from a verb, but it is not used as a verb in a sentence. It has some other function and the non-finite verb, it acts like a noun in a sentence. It is used in the form of an adjective in a sentence. And also we said a non-finite verb can be divided into three. The first one is to infinitive and second one I said participle, third one I said gerund. Okay, let me share the screen for you. Okay, so we had a discussion about this in the last class. So let me share my screen for you. Okay, so here are some points to remember about non-finite verb. I said, children, these non-finite verbs are derived or formed from verb. First point, I request everybody to note the first point. Your first point is, it is derived or it is formed from the verb. Okay, it is derived or it is formed from the verb. And remember, a non-finite verb, it has no subjects of its own. Therefore, it is not limited by the number and person of any noun or pronoun. That means it doesn't have a subject, so it is not controlled by the subject in number, whether it is singular or plural, whether it is first person, second person or third person pronoun, or whatever it is. And last one, a non-finite verb, it is not used like a verb in a sentence. It can be used in the form of a noun, most commonly adjectives in a sentence. Look at the sentence written here, examples. You have 3 examples. I told you non-finites are divided into 2 infinitives and participle. The third one is gerund. Okay, so children, we have 3 examples here. The boy wants to swim. Okay, the boy wants to swim. The first one, the is an article, boy is a noun, and the boy is the subject of your sentence. Wants. What is wants here, children? What is wants here in this sentence? Is it a finite or a non-finite verb?
Finite verb.
Finite verb, because we'll be able to identify the tense of the sentence, right? And what is to swim here? Is it finite or non-finite?
Non-finite.
To infinitive is a non-finite verb. See children, this wants, the finite verb is limited or controlled by its subject. As the subject is singular, we must use a singular verb after the singular subject, right? That is why I have written wants here. If I change the boy into I must change wants into won. I must remove s from that, right? So it is want. So always a finite verb is limited or it is controlled by its subjects in number and in person. But whereas if I change the boy into there won't be any change coming in the place of non-finite verb. It remains as it is, right? There is not change. If it is not, there is no subject for the non-finite verb, so that it is not controlled, it is not limited by its subject. Okay, wherever it is, it remains as it is. Okay, you cannot see any changes that is coming in the form of non-finite verb in a sentence. So here, this non-finite verb is used in the position of an object after a verb, right? Look at the sentence here. The boy is the subject, then comes the verb of wants here, and after wants in the position of object only, we have used the word to swim. Normally, objects and subjects are in the form of noun or pronoun, right? So here, to infinitive form, if it is used before a subject, like to solve this problem. Okay, to solve this problem. So there, to solve is used in the position of a subject in the sentence. You know, a subject can be a noun or pronoun. So we can use in the position of a noun. A to infinitive form can be used in the position of a noun in a sentence. If it is used in the position of an object, that is also in the position of a noun in that sentence. So in function, a to infinitive form is a noun. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Everyone. I'm talking to everyone, not for 1 or 2 children. Is it clear for you children? See, you know subject and object that can be identified by looking at the position of a verb, isn't it? So normally a subject is actually in the beginning of a sentence, except interrogative sentences, right? Normally we can see the subject is in the position of a position in the beginning position of a sentence, right? Before a verb, isn't it? So if you place to infinitive form before a verb in the position of a subject, that is noun in use, right? If you place to infinitive after a verb in the place of object, also noun in use, right? So in function, actually a to infinitive form is in the form of a noun. Okay? Yes or no? Is it clear or not?
Yes, ma'am.
It is not used as a verb. Any one of the non-finite, say you have 3 non-finite forms, right? These 3 non-finite forms are not used in the form of a verb. By looking at these 2 infinitive forms, we cannot even predict the tense of the sentence, right? So these are non-finite used as nouns in the sentence, because this can be used in the position of a subject before the verb. This can also used in the position of an object after the verb. Clear? 2 infinitives are clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, now look at the second one, children. We have the second example. I found the boy swimming. I found the boy swimming. Okay, so here swimming, it is used in the form of a participle. Remember, if this participle is used with an auxiliary verb, then it is going under the category called finite verbs. Okay, he is swimming. She is swimming in a pool. Okay, she is swimming in a pool. There is swimming. Swimming is used with is the auxiliary verb. So that is a finite verb because we can identify the tense. But here in the sentence, the boy or I found the boy swimming. So here swimming, it is not used along with an auxiliary verb, right? It is used alone. By looking at the word swimming, you are unable to identify the tense form. So here it is participle in use. Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Am I clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Is it a past participle or present participle?
Present part.
Present participle. Okay,
participle.
present participle just used in a sentence, not to show the tense form, right? Usually, present and past participles can be used as an adjective before a noun also, or it can be used in a sentence to highlight or to describe a noun in a sentence also. Now, third one, you are not familiar with the word gerund, isn't it? Aren't
I have heard of it.
you heard of it? Very good, very good, very good. So the word gerund, okay, this is also known as verbal nouns. Okay, I repeat, a participle is actually coming under the category called verbal adjective. Okay, in the form of a verb, and it is used as an adjective in a sentence. Whereas a gerund is also known as verbal nouns. Verbal nouns. What do you mean by verbal nouns?
Like they act as a noun.
Yes, of course, you are right, my son. So actually, it is in the form of a verb. A gerund is always ending with an ing form. If it is a gerund, that ends with an ing form, children. So there is a confusion between participle and gerund, right?
Yes.
Because present participles are also ending with ing. And this one, the gerund is always ending with the ing form, right? So there may be some slight little confusion, okay? But there is no need for any confusion because this gerund or this verbal adjectives are used as an adjective in a sentence, whereas a gerund which is ending in an ing form is used in the position of a subject, in the position of an object in a sentence, okay? It is in the form of a noun. A verb in the form of a nouns are called verbal nouns. So gerunds are normally ending with ing form that can be placed in the position of a subject, that can be placed in the position of an object before a verb, after a verb. Am I clear? Let me share the screen for you. The screen for you that is on the topic gerund.
Ma'am, I have a confusion in this gerund.
No problem. I'll help you. Okay, I'll help you to solve all those issues.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
So we had a discussion about present participle and past participle. Let me revise this participles once again. This participle is a word which is partly a verb and partly an adjective. In the form of a verb, it acts like an adjective in a sentence. Look at the examples written here, children. Participle, where a present participle used before a noun to give a description or to describe a noun in a sentence, okay? We met a girl carrying a basket full of flowers. Okay, we met a girl carrying a basket full of flowers. See here, the word carrying is used alone. It is a present participle form which describes a noun flowers, a basket full of flowers, isn't it? A present participle used before a noun to describe a noun. Now look at the second example. His tattered coat needs mending. His tattered coat needs mending. So coat is a noun. I have used the past participle form just before a noun. And this here it is past participle is used as an adjective. Now look at here. A burnt child dreads the fire, isn't it? A burnt child dreads the fire. So here burnt is a past participle form. I have used this past participle form before the noun child, and I am using it for describing the noun child.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, in the third sentence, what is the meaning of dreads? I didn't understand.
Afraid, or he is not actually happy because he is afraid to touch the fire because he has already got burnt, right?
Excuse me.
He has a fear.
Now what is mending?
What is mending? What is mending? A coat needs mending to repair. Right?
Repair.
To repair. Mending. Okay. Then now he played a what game?
Losing game.
Losing game. He played a losing game. Okay. So game is a noun. I have used the ing form before game. The noun. So here the present participle is used like an adjective which is used before a noun. Agni, are you getting bored? Yes.
No, ma'am.
Yes.
No.
Okay, now look at here, present participle and past participle, okay? It was an amazing film. I request everybody to note this. It was an amazing film. Here the film is actually a noun and the word amazing, the present participle is used to describe the film. It is not boring. See, this is an amazing class, right? This is an amazing class of English grammar, right? Agree or disagree? Show me whether you agree or disagree. Agree or disagree? Agni is not raising his thumb. I think he is not interested. Okay. See, I can read Jovin's lip. Oh, ma'am, it's grammar. How can I sit for this try subject as you're not making it so smooth for us, right? You are teaching us finite and non-finite, then participle, gerund. What is it happening here, right? No problem, children. Once it is there in use, application level, you find it is easy, okay? So no problem. So let me share once again. We have an example here. It was an amazing class. It was an amazing class. Okay, and it is an amazing class. So the word amazing, the present participle is used before the noun film. Okay, film. So here it is an adjective in use which describes a noun. Now he was trapped inside the burning house. Present participle, he was trapped inside the burning house. What is the condition of the house? Is it quite calm? It is burning, children.
No, mom, it is burning.
Okay, it is burning. You are trapped inside a burning house means the house is burning with fire, isn't it? You cannot survive in that house, so jump out. Okay, so children, look at here. So we have a burning house. Example, burning house. I request everybody to... Yes.
Ma'am, is amazing a verb?
Amaze, amazed, amazing.
Okay, ma'am.
Okay, so many of his paintings show the setting sun. I got an example from Adigesh, rising sun. So if the sun is rising means it should set, right?
Anandesh.
Yes. So setting sun. So sun is a noun. I have used the word setting. Anandesh is used, not Adigesh. Anandesh is used rising. So I said setting. You are positive and I am negative, right? Okay. Listen here, many of his paintings show the setting sun. So the word setting is a present participle form and that is used as an adjective before a noun sun. Now, normally a present participle is ending with an ing form, okay? And if you use this present participle with an auxiliary verb, it shows an ongoing action, an action that is going on, okay? To show a continuous tense, along with an auxiliary verb, you can use this present participle form also, that is coming under the finite verb, okay? Now you look at here, loudly knocking at the door, he demanded admission. Loudly knocking at the door. Are you able to identify the tense of sentence by looking at the word knocking?
No, ma'am.
Knocking used as a finite verb or, sorry, is knocking used as a finite or non-finite verb here?
Non-finite.
If it is non-finite, is it present participle or past participle?
Non-finite.
Present participle. Now look at the past participle form, children. Always this past participle is usually used along with has, have and had to show a completed action, right? Ma'am, I have completed my work. Ma'am, I have completed my notes. Shall I leave from the class? Right? Ma'am, we have done our work. Okay, we have done everything for you, ma'am. Shall I leave from the class? That means to show a completed action with the auxiliary verb, we can use a past participle form. Okay, or we can frame present perfect tense and past perfect tense, future perfect tense with the help of this past participle form of the verb, right? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
We are normally using this past participle. If it is a part of a finite verb, we can frame a perfect tense with the help of auxiliary verb plus past participle form. So let me share the screen once again. In English grammar, past participle refers to an action that was started and completed entirely in the past. Okay. Now, there is no need. This is actually related to the finite verb. Please don't give more ear there. You have to see the words D, ED, T, EN, N. Commonly, this perfect tenses or usually this past participle forms are ending in or ending with D, ED, T, EN, N. Okay, example, a burnt child dreads the fire, right? A burnt child dreads the fire. Here the past participle is used as an adjective before a noun and it is ending with T. T is here, right? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, okay.
Ma'am, I haven't
God, we have successfully completed that thing. I think you have got some idea about past and present participle used as an adjective, and you got some idea about finite and non-finite verb, right? You're not confused with finite and non-finite, right? Is it right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Now let us talk a bit about this gerund, okay? I've told children, gerunds are also formed from words. Okay, but it acts like a noun in a sentence. As Chinmay said, ma'am, verbal nouns mean it acts like a noun in a sentence. If it is just used like a noun, that is also placed in the position of a subject in a sentence. That is also can be placed in the position of an object in a sentence before and after a verb, isn't it? And remember, this is also known as verbal nouns. A gerund is also called as verbal nouns because it is ending in ing form all the time. See, reading, writing, swimming. Okay, like a present participle, but present participle is used like an adjective, whereas this gerund is used like a noun. Okay, this is a major difference. It is used in the form of a noun. Remember, always this gerund ends in ing form and has the force of a noun and a verb in a sentence. So this is called a verbal noun. I request everybody to note this. I like reading poetry. I like reading poetry. Hunting tiger is not allowed in our country. He is fond of swimming. Speaking is not permitted in the library. There is utter joy. Yes, there is, one second. There is utter joy in cooking. Swimming is a good exercise. I request everybody to copy this first and we'll have a discussion about it.
What is other?
Which one?
It's utter.
Other?
At most joy. At most joy.
Okay, ma'am.
He is very happy. Utter joy.
Okay.
Okay.
Ma'am, if we say it simply, it will be seen as participle examples.
Because you are thinking about why it is used before a noun, right?
Yes, ma'am.
I'll explain it. Don't worry. I request everybody to copy this first. We'll have a discussion about gerund in the next class.
Detailed discussion.
Ma'am, they had.
I have something to discuss with gerund in the next class because there are some rules how to use gerund. Apart from the usages I said, see, it is used as it is used with the preposition also. That is why of swimming is used. Okay, I'll explain it in the next class. If I explain everything today, you won't be able to understand. Today, my intention is to concentrate only on the topic participle. I just introduced the concept gerund, and I've told this is called a verbal noun, as it is with a force of noun. This is used in the position of a subject in a sentence. This can be used in the position of an object. Apart from this has many other usages. Okay, so we'll have a discussion about gerund in the next class.
Ma'am, is point also a participle example, past participle example?
I didn't get you.
Combined study, is that a past participle example?
It's not clear. Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking.
Ma'am, I will say to the chat.
Try to speak. Okay, as Manu asked a question, ma'am, I like reading. in that sentence is reading is known as a gerund or it is used in the form of a participle. That was your question, right? So Manu, same sentence. I like Manu. Okay, I like Manu. This is my sentence in written. So I is the subject, like is the verb. Then what is Manu there?
The object.
So object. So is Manu a verb or is Manu an adjective in that sentence or is Manu a noun in that sentence?
An object.
It is the object, right? Okay, object and it is in the form of a noun in that sentence, right? Because Manu is name of a person. The same position, if you insert the word reading, I like reading. So there reading is in the position of an object after a verb, right? So there that is actually in the form of an object. It is in the form of a noun. It is not an adjective. So that is a verbal noun. That is an example for a gerund. Okay, I like Manu, what I can say, instead of Manu, some other names if you insert also, if it is in the position of an object and used as a noun in that sentence, then that is a gerund. That is why I said it is time to end. I won't get much time to explain.
Swimming in the pool
That
is
is why I said I will explain everything in the next.
gerund, right?
We'll talk about gerund with a lot of examples. Okay, in order to avoid your confusion, we'll discuss it in detail in the next class because you need to learn this non-finite in 8th standard also. It is there in 8th standard. Next year there is no non-finite verb. We 1 year will skip 7th standard. There is no non-finite verb to study. You will be repeating this in the 8th standard in detail. So you should be thorough with gerund also. When you reach, before you reach 8th standard, you should be thorough with the concept gerund. So next class is only for gerund. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.